You are listening to In Conversation with Jennie and Mark.
Good morning, everyone. I am the Reverend Jennie Adams from Holy Trinity Church, Prince Consort Road, South Kensington.
And I am the Reverend Mark Adams from St Margaret's Church, Barking.
Hello, welcome.
Welcome. And as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the audio, you'll never know. But it's too hot, so there's no clergy gear anywhere in sight for either of us.
Standards have slipped. I've not even
Standards are
washed my hair.
slipping. Yeah, standards are slipping. Yeah. Yeah, and I need a haircut and everything. Anyway, we won't worry about that. That's fine.
No, it's not important. Okay.
Not important. Yeah. Our lives are not consistent with things.
Or what we look
Oh,
like.
that was a couple of weeks ago. We moved on from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
So we're going to look at the gospel reading today, because I am preaching on the gospel reading, and I believe you're not preaching this week.
Oh, I'm not preaching. My colleague Lee is preaching because it's his last Sunday preaching. So Lee, if you're listening, this is what you need to say.
It's definitely for my benefit.
Definitely for Jenny's benefit.
Let's have a read.
Maybe hopefully for some people's benefit if you're listening as well. We hope so. We hope you find it helpful. Anyway, we shall fire up the gospel on the. Again, if you're listening, it won't make any difference to you. But I think, Jenny, you're going to read this for us today, aren't you?
I am indeed. And we're looking at Luke 12, verses 49 to 56. So here we go. I came to bring fire to the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. I have a baptism with which to be baptized, and what stress I am under until it is completed. Do you think that I have come to bring peace to the earth? No, I tell you, but rather division. From now on, 5 in one household will be divided, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son and son against father, mother against daughter and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. He also said to the crowds, when you see a cloud rising in the west, you immediately say it's going to rain, and so it happens. And when you see the south wind blowing, you say there will be scorching heat, and it happens. You hypocrites! You know how to interpret the appearance of earth and sky, but why do you not know how to interpret the present time? So,
nice, easy one then today. No problem. We're all up with this one, aren't we? It's exactly the sort of thing we expect and think Jesus is going to say.
Well, do you know what? In some ways, I think this is obvious, but then I don't really know what I would do with it on Sunday. So that's where I am with it, really.
Okay, so why is it obvious?
I think division very clearly happens. Faith can bring division. Jesus does bring division.
Yeah.
For many reasons. But I mean, as an extreme example, if you're family of a different faith and you come to faith in Christ, then that is going to bring division. But also, I'm raised in a family with no faith. My beliefs do create some tensions.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. So, it's not all peace and lovey-dovey. Having that belief does create tension and division. It's just, yeah.
Yes, and even if you're in a family of Christians, as I much more come from, you can still disagree about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, he is the Prince of Peace, and the angels sang that they're going to bring peace. But with beliefs, and I mean, often our beliefs are against cultural norms as well. I mean, we've been talking about gathering possessions, and that's very much what our society wants us to do. So if suddenly that isn't what you do, suddenly you're not following the crowd, and it is going to make a difference. It is going to create some tension. So I think in that way, for me, it's Jesus is stating the obvious.
I suppose it's interesting what you're saying there about, the angels singing in Prince of Peace, and Jesus saying, peace be with you to his disciples when they come. And in one sense, the sort of popular kind of imagination of Jesus that, it's all kind of love and harmony,
I,
and get on with each other. And of course, here is a kind of another view of that, isn't there?
well, also, yeah, so we think of peace as being all quiet and calm and still.
Hmm,
Um, but peacemakers are truth tellers. I mean,
hmm,
often it requires telling truth to power
hmm.
and creating a bit of turbulence before peace can come. I mean, it's not always just sitting by a nice river and looking at the thing. It's peace is something we do rather than something we have, I would say.
Yeah,
It's
because we also because it's not just everything for a quiet life, is there? Justice demands that you stand up for
no,
what and
that's the words. Hold on, thank you. That's the words I was looking for.
so yeah, it is a sort of it does feel a little bit like
Mhm.
Jesus is playing a bit of a raspberry here. I don't know. I'm probably not supposed to say that, but it's the first thing that came into my head. It's like, whoa, okay, this is not the sort of popular conception of what we want
So
Jesus to be saying, is it? I think that's
no. So obviously it's quite hard, quite difficult to preach on. So if anybody's preaching this week, I recognise that. I've gone right back to the very first sentence and I've been thinking, I still don't really know what I'm going to do with it, but all about fire. I've come to cast
okay.
fire upon the earth. Because fire itself is a little bit, we can have a fire pit and it can be warm and cozy, or it can destroy your house and your crops, and it can be wild, can't it?
Yeah.
Um, it can be used in so many different ways. Fire is purifying, but then also, um, and then all the tongues of fire at Pentecost. It's just like I was just trying to think, and we've spoken before about being all fired up, being ablaze. So it has so many different connotations. Um, and that's where the reading starts and where I'm starting with it, but I don't really know. Um, and the only thing I've come up with is fire generally requires an action. Well, it requires oxygen to burn, but I think
Okay.
it
Well, in one
requires
sense,
an
fire
action.
is yes, the ability to control fire is one of the most significant developments we
Mm.
have as humans, really, because it's actually our ability to control fire that means we can do lots and lots of different stuff that we couldn't do otherwise.
What's the Disney cartoon? What's the one?
No, it's the one with
Jungle
the
Book.
the Jungle Book, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, because Matty wants fire.
he wants
There
fire.
you go.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, motor cars, they rely on fire. Well, ours doesn't because we've got an EV, but even there's probably some fire in there somewhere. But petrol engines need fire. It's the ability to control it, isn't it? Um,
Mm.
I think is really what in one sense sets us apart. As you say, the Jungle Book isn't necessarily a bad place to start. We need fire, but we need to control it. What's Jesus saying here? Um,
Come to
is that
cast it down.
he
How
will
I wish
be
it were blazing already.
he will be divisive, I think. I think, and I suppose therefore we shouldn't be surprised when it is divisive. I think that's perhaps one thing to take from it. If it's causing division, then don't be surprised about that because it is going to set you apart from all sorts of other people, isn't it? As you say, we've been thinking about you
But
know
how does that connect to the fire? Is that because we're ablaze with, I don't know, love and hope and, like we're fired up?
um
So I've got the message up just because
okay, go on. What does the message say?
sometimes it helps, doesn't it? Good old Eugene Peterson. So I've come to start a fire on this earth. How I wish it were blazing right now. I've come to change everything, turn everything right side up. How I long for it to be finished. And that's because I was struggling with the baptism thing, really. I have baptism which to be baptized, and I wish it were to be completed. I kind of thought, he has been baptized.
But isn't he talking about his death here?
Yeah, so I think the death and resurrection of baptism isn't it? Which I kind of hoped it was, but until you can check that out. But yes. Um, Do you think I came to smooth things over and make everything nice? Not so. I've come to disrupt and confront. And from now on, and then it goes back to 5 in the household. So
Yeah, because I suppose the message of the kingdom, the message of God's reign, is disruptive. It's not the way because we're in rebellion against God, isn't it? So therefore, when God comes and confronts us, as this Eugene Peterson translates it, putting things the right way up, it's going to cause trouble, and we should expect it to cause trouble, and we shouldn't be surprised when it does. I
but
mean,
going back to the fire, do you feel that
yeah.
that's kind of fired up the spirit of God? We're fired up and ready to. Is that what we're
Well,
talking?
I think you can certainly interpret it like that, can't you?
Mm.
You need people that are fired up. You need people that are willing to make change. This world is
Or I
difficult.
suppose, yeah, you could use it as like the wildfires because they kind of just keep going, and faith and the gospel message just keeps being passed on.
There is
It
a
doesn't
sense in
spread.
which this is the kind of that this is more like a wildfire, isn't it? That the fire is kind of burning. I'm just come start something which is it going to get out of control? I mean, as I say, it's the ability to control fire, which is really significant for us as humans, allows us to do a lot of things that we want
But
to
we
do,
can't control God, so maybe
but we
that is a
can't
much
control
better
God.
image
So
than the
yeah,
wildfires.
the wildfire. Yeah,
Um,
but that is destructive, isn't it? I mean, we want to control wildfires. We don't want to let fires get out of control. But is that a sense in which we also therefore try to domesticate and tame, you know, Christ's
yeah,
message?
I think. Well, I think we could just yes, we can definitely think about that. That's definitely.
Yeah. So I like the bit, just moving on to the sort of second part of it as well, about the weather. Because I always thought there's something really ironic about this, So just imagine if Jesus was saying this now. I mean, we've been watching our weather apps, haven't we, for the last week to see what the weather's going to be at Greenback when we're camping next weekend. We're sort of dialing, this ability to, Jesus saying to them there, because you can see a cloud coming, it's going to rain. We can do that infinitely better now with satellites and all sorts of stuff that would have been unimaginable then. But are we any better at, as Jesus saying, reading the signs of the times? And what are the signs of the times within this that Jesus is inviting us to read?
So I don't think. Well, we're definitely better at interpreting the weather. We're better than we were when I was a child. So are we better at interpreting the time? Oh, God, but what does that even mean? So
Well,
what does it
yeah.
mean?
Well, what does it mean?
Because
How do we
it's
read
fairly
what's going
obvious
on right
when
now?
he's standing in front of them, isn't it? The time of his presence, he's there. It's a whole different time. What does that actually mean for us now, though, of interpreting the times? What does it say? Interpret the present time.
Yes, how do we know it's
I have to
interpreted?
check the authorized King James version as well. Fallen foul of this last week. So I was like, it said something completely different. You hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky and of the earth, but how is it that you do not discern this time?
Well, and again, we're in a time of, how do we interpret what's going on around us at the moment in our nation?
Mhm.
It's incredibly divisive. People are stirring up all sorts of questions and, you know,
Yeah, I
hatred
just
for each
think
other.
when he actually said it, he was talking about they hadn't really interpreted it that this is God's time. He was there on earth with
Yeah,
them. I'm
yeah.
not quite sure what we should be interpreting. That he's still here, that the Holy Spirit is surrounding us. What? So we're not any better because I'm no better.
We know how to read a
In
weather
answer,
app. Are we better than interpreting the signs of the times?
apparently not. No, I think I've just proven that. Um, yeah. Oh, and shall we do a message game? Let's have a look.
Go on, what does the message say?
Uh, you know how to tell a change in the weather, so don't tell me you can't tell a change in the season, the God season we're in right now.
So he's really drawing out the idea that they don't recognize who Jesus is. And I suppose you could say, therefore, do we still recognize the message of Christ? That he's
Yeah,
come, that he's
we still
come,
don't.
you know,
Well, I think we often don't recognize the kingdom do we? We miss the glimpses of the kingdom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that God has come to call together a people, that there isn't bound by ethnic divisions or, but actually is open to everybody. I think that's, but not everybody will accept it. So there will still be division.
Oh, yes.
Well, you can sort of tie it back into what there is at the beginning, because that itself is a divisive message. So there's a sort of paradox at work here, isn't there? And there is a kind of paradox at work within this whole passage, I suppose, because we are wrestling with, even in this conversation, we believe in a God of love who loves everyone and who died for the world, John 3:16, and it's did not, but and yet within that there is division, and it seems to me that those two things seem to go together, and that's understandable in many ways, and we shouldn't be surprised by that. But one day God is going to, turn it all right, but we're not there yet. We're still living in the gap, as we might say.
We are still, yes. So for Sunday, I think I'm just going to say it now. I'm going to start with something about fires. I like the fire image.
Yeah.
I think it's a good image. We can
everybody.
It's universal, isn't it? Everybody knows what fire is and nothing is. So start with the fire. I'm going to work my way through it, really. Talk about tensions that come with the gospel message, how we often don't recognize the glimpses of the kingdom. How I can tie that together, I'm not quite so sure, but but I will. With a takeaway, but it is a divisive message. It is a difficult message. I think it's a costly
we shouldn't
message,
shy away
isn't
from
it?
that.
No, I think it's in previous sermons, because it is a costly message. It's not about the world, what we want as a world. It's a whole different way of living. So
we're still in the same section of the man with his barn, building bigger barns, of it not being about the abundance of our possessions. We're still in the thing that we were looking at last week, as well. So I think it's still building on that, isn't it? And that's not everyone will accept it. We shouldn't be surprised by that. But God is still working God's purposes out. That's what I think you've always got to come back to. Yeah,
and I think that might be how I tie it up. Kind of comforting, really, in as much as just because everybody doesn't agree with you doesn't make it. You to expect that, really.
Yeah. Well, if that's you and you're thinking about that and reflecting on that, something, we wish you well, and we will. Are we coming back next week? Because we got Kura away, aren't we?
We'll be back next week. We'll do it tomorrow.
We'll be back next week. Okay, you take care. Thanks for listening.
All right, thank you all. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to In Conversation with Jennie and Mark. Please subscribe for more episodes on all the usual podcast platforms.